Hello and welcome to the third episode of Built for Four. Built for I don't even know the name of my own podcast. Jesus Christ. Built for More. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I hope you've had a fantastic day or are having a fantastic day as well. So third episode, and if you have watched these on the day that they listened and watched, depending on where you're listening or watching this, or because obviously it's on YouTube as well. If you have started listening to this on the first day of the launch, hopefully you've been through the other two of the first episodes, and if not, what are you doing on this one? Make sure to go and watch the first two before you come back to this, because these first three podcasts all join together. So this podcast is about setting smarter goals, which funnily enough is a webinar that I did for my clients a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to go over a shorter version of this, and I'm going to go more in depth. I'm going to give a little bit more examples, which more might be a little bit more general, because obviously I was giving examples to the clients that were on the call and webinar as well, and then obviously because they're my clients and it's a live call, we did a little task together as well, which obviously we're not going to do here because I can't see any of you and I don't know where you're up to and I can't talk to you. But if you want to talk to me, you can just shoot me a message as well over on my Instagram. And if you don't know my Instagram, it's siobhan.builtformore. So yeah, make sure you go and follow me on there. But I digress. Today we're going to be talking about setting smarter goals on your fitness journey, why this is so important, about SMART goals, which most people have heard of, or a lot of people have heard of, in terms, and that's like the usual goal setting strategy that a lot of people go to, and I'm going to talk about why I don't like that goal strategy. I have used it in the past, hold my hands up, it's what I got taught, and I think every PT got taught on the qualification. But I'm going to talk about why I don't use it now, and the reason why I don't use it and why I don't like it, and what I do instead, which I use smarter goals, which I'm going to teach you about on this podcast. So I first want to go over the importance of goal setting. So goal setting is super important on a fitness journey. I mean, it's important for anyone who wants to achieve a goal. Like, it doesn't have to be fitness related. It can also be in terms of like business, career, relationships, putting your bloody shelf up from IKEA. You're setting yourself a goal. The reason why it's important to set yourself a goal on a fitness journey, because obviously this is a fitness podcast, is that one, it gives you a clear path. You know exactly what you are aiming for, and you know specifically what you are aiming for as well. It also boosts your motivation as well, and when you are having those slumps, which are very, very normal on a fitness journey, it helps you overcome them, because when you are having those moments where it's like, oh, why am I doing this? I do want, the last place I want to be is in the gym. You can go back to your goal, you can go back to your why and go, fucking, I'm just going to fucking do it. I need to work for my goal. This is my reason why. Light that fire up your ass and work for that goal. So it's not going to necessarily make you, just give you a jolt of motivation. It's going to help you be dedicated, and it's going to help you tick the boxes in order for you to reach a goal. It's also going to keep you accountable as well, because if you split it up into mini goals as well, you'll have small achievable goals that you can get throughout your journey as well, to get the bigger one that you want, the main goal that you want. And then it also helps you track your progress as well, because if you have, again, a very specific goal that can be measurable, again, you'll probably, if you know about SMART goals, you'll know what I'm on about here. If you have a measurable goal, it helps you track your progress, and you can see that you're getting close to that goal as well. It also helps build your confidence and lift your mood, especially if you, for example, get, I don't know, like a PB on like a lift or something like that. It will help build your confidence and lift your mood. Or for example, if you're ticking the boxes and you're getting close to your goal, again, that will also build the confidence that you can achieve the bigger goal. Or if you achieve one of the smaller goals, again, it'll just give you that evidence that you can achieve the big one further down the line as well. And it also promotes balance between life, like living your life, and of course the health goals that you're trying to, the health and fitness goals that you're trying to achieve as well. So when I get my clients to go over their goals, I also get them to go through like their life and what's realistic for them, and barriers in their life that can come up, just so we can approach them right from the offset at the beginning, to make sure that this is considered when the goal setting as well. So I next want to talk about types of goals. So there's two main types of goals that you can have, but I also want to briefly talk about SMART goals as well. So obviously you have short-term and long-term goals. So short-term goals are achievable within weeks and months. So for example, it might be run a 5k, and again this depends on where your starting point, because like you might have Betty, who has never run in her life, she might not be able to run a 5k in a few months. Or you might have, I don't know, Sandra, who's done a little bit of running, she's in decent nick, she can probably like train and get into a 5k within months. So again, all these examples that I'm giving are obviously person dependent on where that person is. So again, weeks and months, it might be run a 5k and lose £5. Same with the £5 as well. If someone has like a pretty poor relationship with food, they might not be able to do that in months. They might have to like really work on their relationship with food before they can even attempt to lose weight, because they just continue yo-yo dieting or binge eating. It might be that. And then you'll have your longer term goals, and this is more aiming for the larger picture. So if you are a runner, it might be something like complete a marathon, and then you might have your end weight loss goal as well. And if you're, for example, you want to lift a certain weight, it might be I want to do a 200 kilogram deadlift, and that's a long-term goal, and that might be in the space of like 6 months to a year, or maybe even years away. So for example, like I know some competitors, the goal might actually take them like 5 years to get, so that's a really long-term goal, and they've got to break that down into small little chunks just so they don't look at the fucking mountain and they just look at the step in front of them all along the way as well. So I want you to think about those short-term goals and long-term goals when we go into smarter goals as well. So speaking of smarter goals, what most people get taught when they're, for example, on courses in work, what PTs get taught, you might even get taught them at school if you're in like a business management course, is you have SMART goals, which you have the SMART. We all know how to spell smart. Well done. And these stand for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, I personally don't like SMART goals. I've used them, hold my hand up, I used them at the beginning of my coaching career. Now, the reason why I don't like SMART goals is because I don't like the parts of this which is achievable and time-bound. Reasons being is that, let's say it's the beginning of your fitness journey, and you might want to set a goal that's like run a marathon. And let's say again you're Betty, I think that was a name that I used at the beginning. This is example names, by the way. I just literally plucked them off the top of my head. Let's say you're Betty and you've never run a day in your life, and you kind of go, oh, I want to run a marathon, but I've never run a day in my life. That's not achievable, and then you won't have the confidence to set that goal. But just because it might not be achievable now doesn't mean that it won't be in the future. And also what you need to think about as well is that as someone's fitness and as someone's health increases and as someone's confidence increases, something that might not have necessarily been achievable in the past might be achievable, or in the present might be achievable in the future. So that's another reason why I don't like that, because sometimes it can hold people back from setting like scary and exciting goals and really pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. And that's what I'm always about. That's what I'm about, is working with people who want to level the fuck up, who want to show themselves what they're capable of. And I believe that personal part, that part of SMART goals can hold people back. Time bound as well. This is person dependent, because some people get along really well with having like a deadline. So like, I know obviously you have like some competitors which will be like, this prep is 12 weeks long, let's fucking go. And photo shoot preps being like so much time, they'll have like a little countdown timer. But not everyone gets along with having a timer, and not everyone gets along with having a certain time bound goal, because sometimes it can be too much pressure and it hinders them more than it helps them. So I also don't like I'll utilise time bound depending on the person. And I, in terms of time bound, I don't mind setting kind of like a gauge, but not overly a specific date, because as I said, so depending on the person, every person's different, every client's different. Again, depending on who I'm working with, I'll change the way that I coach that individual. That's how I coach on an individual basis. with how I believe that person will get on with that specific part of goal setting. So I want to go over SMART goals with you, which is the strategy that I utilise with my clients when they sign up with me. So SMART goals, the first one, just like within all SMART goals, is specific. And specific, when you go through essentially when you are setting a goal, you want to go through this formula essentially to help you set your goal more effectively, just so it'll help you stick to it. And if you go through this podcast again, feel free to like stop it and go through your goal. So you might have like paused this podcast and you might have wrote your goal as I want to lose weight. That is my goal. Okay, so let's utilize that goal throughout this SMART goal setting, and essentially I can utilize that as an example. So first of all, S is specific. So with that goal, lose weight, you need to be getting specific with what you want, using planning, sub goals and small wins along the way. So specific of losing weight might be a weight loss target. You might kind of go, right, okay, let's see how we look and feel after losing 10 kilograms. So I want to lose 10 kilograms. It also might be I want to go from a size 18 to a size 12 or something like that. So that is going to be your big goal, and then you're going to use plan along the way. So I want to like just slowly, obviously if you're using dress sizes, you want to be slowly going down. So your first goal from going from like an 18 to a 12 is going from like 18 to 16, 16 to 14, and essentially you'll set those small goals along the way, and also setting small wins that might not be like it's related to, but it might not be specifically about your actual weight loss. It might be, I want to make sure that I get better at planning my food. I want to make sure I'm including more fruit and veg. I want to make sure I'm drinking more water. I'm moving more throughout the day. Maybe I'm going to the gym. Maybe I'm doing some YouTube workouts at home. You're setting small wins along the way that will help you get towards your big goals. Another way that I like to describe this with some of my clients, especially the gamer clients, is you have your main mission, which is losing weight, and you have your side quest, which is going to give you all the skills that you need to get through the main mission. That's just a gamer geeky thing that I go off on as well, but it just helps people like get it into their head if they're like me and play video games all their life. So that's how I like to describe it. Then you have your main mission and you have your side quests, and your side quests are going to help you with your main mission as well. So you don't just completely ignore the main missions, because it's going to make you're not going to completely ignore your side quests, because then it's going to make your main mission a lot harder to get through because you've not leveled up. That's just me showing my geeky side there. Next one is measurable. So this is good for monitoring your progress. So how are you going to measure your goal and that you're getting further towards your goal, and your small wins as well? So for example, again, if we take that weight loss and the 10 kilograms, well, you're going to get on the scale, aren't you, to make sure that your weight loss is going in the direction that you want to. And again, with weight loss as well, I'm guessing you're going to want fat loss, not necessarily weight loss. So you're going to take measurements, and you're going to be expecting your measurements to go down as well at a good pace. Again, if it's a dress size, you're going to expect your clothes sizes to go down too. Again, if you take pictures, this is also a good way to measure progress, because with your pictures over time, you as a person will be getting smaller and smaller and smaller over time in those pictures as well. And with your small wins, let's say, as we were saying before, you're going to be tracking your food, you're going to be making sure that you're eating more fruit and veg, you're going to be getting outside and walking more, drinking more water. You can track all these things. Obviously, MyFitnessPal tracks your food, but it also tracks your water as well. So you're going to hold yourself accountable and start tracking your food. And you're going to be able to see how much veg and fruit you're intaking. And at the start, it might be having like 2 pieces of fruit and veg a day. And then that might go to 3, it might go to 4, and slowly you're increasing this over time. Same with your steps. You might start out doing 4,000 steps a day, and then you start doing 5, 6, and this slowly goes up, because you're again pushing yourself to be that 1% better every single week as well. And again, you're going to celebrate this when you're getting more and more and more, and just give yourself a massive pat on the back along the way as well. Next thing that I like to talk about is additive. So what I mean by this is, what can you add to your life that'll help you on your journey? So I don't want you to focus on what's going to be taken away. So, I'm not going to be able to have as many takeaways, I'm not going to be able to go out on as many nights with my friends, I'm not going to be able to do X, Y and Z, I'm not going to be able to sit on my ass and watch Netflix all night. What are you going to add? you're going to be adding fruit and veg, you're going to be adding walks outside. Potentially you can go on walks outside with your partner and spend some time with him, or your girlfriends and spend some time with them, or like boyfriends, whatever. Taking your dog on a walk. Again, when you're potentially doing your cardio, you could watch things on Netflix there. You can read whilst you're getting your cardio as well. You can read whilst getting your steps, which is like a little trick that I do. I've also had clients that bring in their Switch and bring in their like Steam Deck, and they'll walk really slowly, bear in mind, but they'll walk on the treadmill and get their steps as they're playing video games. And that's what I do as well. So for example, this desk that I'm on, it's a standing desk. You'll probably see the little end of the treadmill just on this video here. I move the treadmill under my desk, I play Skyrim, and then I walk really, really slowly whilst playing Skyrim. And yes, it's not as quick as me getting my steps as if I was outside, but I'm playing my video game, not tripping over my stair mill, and I'm also getting my steps at the same time, and it's 2 birds, 1 stone as well. And if I do get into like a big battle with a dragon or some boss, I just pause my treadmill for a little bit, do the battle, and then start my treadmill up again and just continue walking as I'm walking around Skyrim. Like, if you have an inside treadmill or a trackpad, it is so, and you're a gamer as well, or you're a movie buff, so fucking easy to get your steps. It really, really is. So if you don't have one, I'd definitely invest one if you're like low on movement and you're not really like a go outside exploring kind of person, and you're more of a like gamer, movie buff, homebody kind of person. And again, you can add these things into your life. So because I've started doing that, I'm playing more by video games, because it's almost an excuse for me to get like, my steps are an excuse for me to play video games. So I started playing more video games, so I'm having more of that me time as well. So it's focusing on things that you can add to. So yeah, I also want you to think about what else you can add besides actual things that you do. So what will be added to your life once you achieve your goal, or as you're achieving your goal. So for example, you will gain self-control, you'll gain confidence, you'll gain strength, you'll gain fitness, you'll gain health, like all of these things. Again, you might just feel more sexy, you might then start having sex more with your partner, your relationship with your partner might improve because obviously you've got more of that connection. You're going outside on walks with your partner as well, again you've got more of a connection there. Your dog's probably getting healthier because you're walking it more. All of these things that might be added towards your life, added to your life as well. Next one are rewarding. So this is a really big one and a really important one that I get my clients to think of, is why do you want to achieve this goal? So in terms of like, I want to lose weight, it's because I just want to, or I think I'll feel better. It's like that's wishy-washy. Why do you want to achieve this goal? How will it change your life? Let's say 6 months down the line, a year down the line, you've achieved your goal. You have lost the weight that you've wanted to lose. You look the way that you want to look. You feel the way that you want to feel. How's your life going to change? What are you going to do differently? Will it potentially affect other people's life, other people's lives that are around you as well? And how will it improve it? And why is achieving that fat loss or that fitness goal valuable to you? Why is it valuable to you? And sometimes you might have to really, really dig. So it's like, if I feel better, okay, cool, what will feeling better do? What will you do? Will you wear different clothes? Will you go different places? Will you potentially come on to your partner more? Like, what is it? What is it that it's going to give you that you haven't got now? Like, and it might be that you dig and you might get emotional about it. Good. Because then on those days where you have low motivation and you're like, this is the last place that I'm going to be, that I want to be, you can think of that reason why, and it'll set a fire up your ass. So for example, my reason why is my clients. I need to show up for my clients and walk the walk. So when I'm there in the gym, or when I'm about like not wanting to go to the gym and I'm like, oh my god, this is the last place that I want to be, I'm like, Siobhan, you cannot tell your clients to do X, Y, and Z if you're not fucking doing that yourself. And I'm like, right, okay, we get to work, we do the do, because I need to lead from the front for my clients. I need to show my clients how it's done as well. And the next one is timely. So this isn't necessarily time bound, but it's timely. So it might have a timeline, it might not. One thing that I like to think about is momentary restriction to break the goals into small chunks. So for example, if you're on a fat loss goal, you are going to have to be in a calorie deficit for a period of time. And you might have periods of time where you do, like, let's say I don't know, 6 weeks where you're in quite a harsh calorie deficit and you have a diet break, and then you go back into another 6 weeks. Or it might be 10, or it might be 12. Everyone's different, and everyone can handle a certain amount of pushing and pulling, again, depend on the person. And again, when I work with my clients on an individual basis, I kind of get to know my clients and what they need at what times. And some people do need to have those pullbacks every so often, and some people can go quite hard for quite a long time as well. And yeah, it's just about breaking that goal down into small chunks as well, again, having refeeds and things like that if they need them. And then efficacy, and is E on the smarter goals. And what efficacy means is, how are you going to build your own self-efficacy for long-term success? Essentially, how are you going to build your own independence for long-term success as well? So what are you going to put in place so that you can stay accountable to yourself forever? So maybe you're not like relying on a coach, not relying on a gym buddy, not relying on an app. What are you going to put in place to make sure that you're independent on your journey as well? Again, so we're not looking for you get to the end of your weight loss goal and then you go back to normal. What habits are you going to put in place so the weight that you lose is going to be lost forever? Then there is relative as well, which is the last part of this. Is essentially, it's keeping in mind your life now and where you want to be, which is mental contrasting, which is a mindset too, which I'll talk to you about in a second, and what barriers can come up along your journey and how will you overcome them. So it's essentially, I think I mentioned this in the last podcast as well with Christmas, about imagining the future version of you, where she is, how she acts around certain events, where you are now, and what you've got to do, almost like a Rocky montage, what you've got to do and what you've got to overcome to become that next level version of you, and what has that version of you done to jump over all of those barriers and achieve where she is right now, and essentially looking at you and going, okay, how am I going to show up that way as well? So just going into mental contrast before I jump back onto relative again. So mental contrasting is a mindset tool where you visualize yourself and your life now and where you want to be. You don't have to use this just in fitness. As I said, you can utilize this in business, you can use this in relationships, any kind of goal setting that you want to do. So essentially you visualize those 2 points, and then you need to think about the steps and things that need to happen in order to get there. So you create step 1, step 2, and you break this big jump down into little steps, essentially creating your little Rocky montage. Then you think of anything that could be a barrier to trip you up, i.e. friends being unsupportive, partner being unsupportive, family being unsupportive, having busy periods throughout work, holidays, Christmas, I don't know, unexpected, like your kid unfortunately gets ill, touch wood, that never happens, but things like that, a family member getting ill, again, touch wood, hopefully that never happens. You think of anything that could be a barrier to trip you up, your car breaking down, whatever that might be. And then I also want you to think about future you and how she has overcome it. So think about the wish, the outcome, the obstacles, and then plan to get over your plan on how you're going to jump over your obstacles. This is hugely important for long-term behaviour change. There's a study on this. I can't pronounce the bloke's name. Ottigen, I think. If you message me or send me a comment, I'll just paste a study there. But it's basically a study about behaviour change, talking about smarter goals and talking about mental contrasting as well. So essentially that's what we're going to be talking about in terms of relative, is that you're thinking of you now, where you want to be, the steps along the way that you get there, and then overcoming those barriers as well. So that's relative, and that is smarter goals too. So if you haven't been pausing this podcast, I definitely recommend you, if you are wanting to set goals in the new year for your fitness, business, whatever that might be, go back onto this podcast and then just pause on when I'm going through specific, rewarding, timely, etc., and then just pause and then just have your goal and just break down and go through it and just make sure you're absolutely solid on every single part of those as well. So before I finish up this podcast, I want to ask you a couple of questions that are really, really good questions to ask yourself on this as well. So if you've been through all of those smarter goals and you've had your goal and you've written them down and you're fuck, I've made some big goals here, I'm not too sure about them, I'm not too sure if I'll be able to achieve them, I want you to ask yourself, not not can you achieve them. I want you to ask yourself, what skills do you need to develop in order for you to achieve them? Because it might be that you look at that goal in front of you, you look at the smarter that you've written out in front of you and go, oof, that's a lot. And if you do feel like that, that's okay. Like, it's good to feel like that. It's good to challenge yourself. It's good to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And it might just be that you might not be able to achieve it right now. However, that doesn't mean that you can't and it's off the table. It might mean that you have to develop some skills in order to achieve the goal you have. It might mean that you need extra support from either a friend, from a coach, from I don't know, someone that'll help support you in order to achieve this goal as well. So what skills and what support do you need in order to achieve that goal? And what things can you start doing now to work on those skills as well? Who can you reach out to? Again, what things can you put in place to start working on those skills and to start achieving the goals that you want in the new years as well? So I hope you found this podcast helpful. I hope you found it educational, entertaining, all that fun stuff. I do want you to, as I said, go back to adjust, reevaluate your goals, especially as we get into New Year as well. And yeah, go over your goals and remember that even if you have a goal right now, doesn't mean that you can't change it like midway through. You might get midway through achieving a certain goal that you have as you've written it throughout this podcast, as you get into New Year, and you get halfway through the goal and you're like, this isn't what I want anymore. And that is completely okay. You are allowed to change direction whenever you want. Just continue just moving towards your values and what you want out of life as well. Like, don't feel discouraged or don't feel upset about changing mind on things. Like, we're human, we're allowed to change our mind on things. Just always go in the direction where you're, well, not always, you don't have to do this, you don't have to better yourself, you can get worse if you want to. But I know I work with people who want to be the best of the best, who want to be the best version of themselves. So if you are that person, always show up as being 1% better every single time. Like, you can change your goals, you can change direction, but as long as you are getting 1% better, it's all good. I also want to say as well, it's super, I wouldn't say it's super important, but I definitely encourage sharing your goals with friends, family, online communities. If you have a coach, share it with your coach as well for that support as well. It's really, really good telling people about it, because again, they can hold you accountable to that as well. And I've worked with people before who didn't want to share the goal, who didn't want to say something, and to me that says more about that person's internal belief that they can achieve that goal as well. And if you're that person, if you truly don't believe in yourself enough to shout it from the rooftops of, I'm going to do this, then I definitely think about that and the belief that you have in yourself as well. Because I think everyone knows that I am planning on competing next year, and like I've told everyone about that because I want everyone to hold me accountable next year to do and tick the boxes as well. So yeah, you can also explore how like fitness apps, social media can help you track progress and provide motivation as well. And again, if you have an accountability partner, a gym buddy, or as I said, like invest in a coach to help support you as well, like that'll someone who will actually hold you accountable and not just be like, oh, it's all right if you're not doing anything. Get a coach. Like, if you are going to invest in a coach, get a coach who's actually going to hold you accountable and be like, you said you were going to do this last week, how come you haven't done it? And yeah, hold you accountable to your goal. So as I said before, please go through this podcast, set your smarter goals this week, and share your experiences with me as well. Share your goals with me. Like, I know if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can shoot me a comment down below. If you're on Spotify, as well as a comment section there, just leave me a comment on your smarter goals. If you follow me on Instagram, if not, why not? Like, follow me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM with your smarter goals as well, because I'd love to look over them as well. And then yeah, as I said before, like, reach out with your goals, and then if you do have any questions on, or if you get stuck on this smarter method as well, just if you have any questions, shoot me a message over and I'll be more than happy to help. But thank you so much for listening to me waffle on as usual. And then the next episode as well will be out next Monday, which I'm really, really excited to see you there too. And I'll give you like a little update on what's going on with me, what I got, what I did over Christmas as well, before I get into the fun stuff, fun and educational part of this as well. Yeah, thank you for listening. Any questions, you know exactly where I am. Just follow me on Instagram. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.